Welcome to Trauma Bay. There's a truth about life that most people don't want to say out loud, a truth that hides in the corner of every broken relationship, every confusing smile, every manipulation disguised as care. And that truth is this: women don't just want love, or attention, or even power. At the core of their unconscious drive, what they want more than anything is for you to suffer. It sounds harsh, maybe even absurd. But look closely. Not with your emotions, not with what society trained you to feel, but with what is real, with what's observable, with what's happening around you every day. Watch how a woman responds when she realizes you no longer need her. Watch how quickly her kindness turns into silence, how her admiration shifts into resentment the moment your independence stops feeding her need to feel needed. Schopenhauer said that women are not capable of genuine love, not in the way men idealize it. He wasn't being hateful. He was being honest. He said that the bond between man and woman is not built on a union of souls, but on nature's cruel trick, the blind drive for reproduction, for the continuation of the species. And in that game, suffering is not a side effect. It's the mechanism. The woman isn't consciously trying to hurt you. She's simply playing out the role evolution carved into her bones. Her biology doesn't care about your peace. It only cares that she secures the strongest man, makes him fight for her, then watches him collapse under the weight of her expectations. Because only then does she feel safe. Not emotionally, biologically. Have you ever noticed how women are drawn to damaged men, the brooding, tormented ones? Not because they want to heal them, but because suffering is attractive to them. It gives them a sense of power, control, validation, and once they have it, they turn it into a game of slow destruction. They'll ask you to open up, to be vulnerable, to tell them your secrets. Then, one day, when the winds change, they'll use it against you without hesitation, not because they're evil, but because nature rewards whatever helps her survive. Your pain makes her feel more alive. That's not romance. That's strategy. There's this strange pattern in the dating world. When a man suffers for a woman, sacrifices, begs, bleeds emotionally, she doesn't lose attraction. It grows. Why? Because somewhere deep inside, she equates your pain with her value. She doesn't want to hurt you outright. That's too obvious. She wants you to choose to suffer for her. That's where the real power is. That's where she feels most wanted. Look at the stories women love. The songs, the movies. They're all about men who fall apart for love. Men who endure betrayal, humiliation, and heartbreak. And call it devotion. And men believe it. They think that to be loved by a woman, they have to be willing to be broken by her. That's not love. That's indoctrination. Schopenhauer didn't see women as cruel by choice. He saw them as tools of nature's cruelty, as beings designed not for truth, but for survival. He said their instincts are short-sighted, focused only on what benefits them in the moment. And that includes the emotional chaos they bring into men's lives. What benefits her isn't your happiness. It's your usefulness. And if your suffering makes her feel more wanted, more powerful, more secure, then that's what you'll be given: suffering. You might think this is too dark, that maybe not all women are like this. And sure, they're not identical, but they're similar enough to keep this pattern going. The ones who don't make you suffer are often the ones you ignore, and the ones who do are the ones you can't stop thinking about. Because suffering is addictive, especially when it comes from someone you desire. They withhold affection when you need it most. They give you mixed signals. They create emotional puzzles. All of it is designed, not consciously, but instinctively, to keep you off balance, to make you chase. Because as long as you're suffering, she knows you care. And when you stop suffering, she assumes you've stopped loving her. There's a reason women test men constantly. They don't ask questions to understand you. They ask to expose weakness. They want to know where the crack is, where they can slip in doubt. Because a man who is questioning himself is easier to control, and a man who feels he's always one step behind her emotions will keep trying harder. That's the suffering she craves. Not because she hates you, but because it proves she matters. You'll see it in how they react to silence. If you pull back, she panics. Not because she misses your company, but because she misses the control. She misses the ability to make you feel something. Women don't fear losing you. They fear losing the version of you that suffers for them. That's the man they feel closest to. Not the strong one, but the one who bends. Schopenhauer believed that suffering isn't something to be avoided, because it can't be avoided. Life itself is suffering, he said. And desire is the root of it. Every time you desire a woman, you step into that trap willingly. Not because she's a villain, but because nature designed her to awaken in you the most self-destructive longing. She becomes the illusion you chase, thinking she will complete you. But all she does is complete the cycle of suffering. The moment you think she's the answer to your emptiness, you're finished. Because now she owns you, not physically, but psychologically. And that's more powerful. She doesn't need to lift a finger to control you. She just needs to be the reward you can never fully have. That's where her true influence lies, in being just out of reach. Women are praised for their emotional intelligence, but that intelligence often isn't used for connection. It's used for leverage. They know how to say what you need to hear, and then pull it away. They know how to cry when it suits them, and go cold when it breaks you. They know how to wound you with subtlety, not because they studied psychology, but because evolution refined this behavior over generations. It's in the wiring. The worst part is, men are taught to see this suffering as a rite of passage, to believe that if they're hurting, they must be doing something right. That love means struggle. That devotion means sacrifice. But who benefits from that belief? Not you. You're left exhausted, confused, and broken, while she walks away untouched, and often more admired. When a man shows too much strength, he's seen as cold, but when he shows too much emotion, he's seen as weak. There is no balance, only a slow erosion of self-respect in the name of staying worthy in her eyes. And the irony? The more you give, the more she takes for granted. Because women don't fall in love with sacrifice. They fall in love with the suffering that sacrifice creates. Schopenhauer said that love is a trap, a way for the species to trick the individual into doing what benefits the whole. And women are the gatekeepers of that trap. They don't do it out of malice. But their entire value system is shaped by what they can extract from men, emotionally, financially, psychologically. That's not an insult. That's nature. Nature doesn't care if you're happy. It only cares that the game continues. Even the idea of the one is part of that manipulation. The promise that if you suffer long enough, if you endure enough heartbreak, you'll finally be rewarded with someone who understands you. But understanding isn't what keeps relationships alive. Power does, and the one who suffers less always holds more power. In most cases, that's not the man. And it's not about wealth or status. Even powerful men suffer under this dynamic. Look at celebrities, billionaires, high-status men. They get used, betrayed, humiliated just like anyone else. Because it's not about what you have. It's about how much of yourself you're willing to give away to keep a woman close. And the more you give, the more you bleed. This is why so many men wake up one day and feel nothing, numb, hollow, not because they're broken, but because they've been drained by a system that rewards their pain and punishes their strength. You're told to express your emotions, but only the ones that make you vulnerable. You're told to be open, but only when it benefits her narrative. Every moment is a negotiation. Every silence is a test. Every disagreement is a trap. And your suffering? It's the currency that keeps the illusion alive. So why do women want you to suffer? Because they've learned, consciously or not, that suffering is proof of love. Because when you suffer, they feel chosen. Because when you suffer, you become easier to guide, easier to mold, easier to keep. Because when you suffer, you stop asking questions. You stop resisting. You stop being free. This isn't just about relationships. It's about the deeper psychological war between the sexes. The one no one talks about, but everyone feels. It's in the look she gives you when you hesitate. In the way she dismisses your logic when her emotions are at play. In the way she punishes you with distance instead of words. These aren't accidents. They're tactics. You suffer because you're expected to, and if you don't, you're accused of not caring. If you don't break down for her, you're told you're emotionally unavailable. If you don't sacrifice, you're told you're selfish. And if you ever dare to want peace more than passion, you're told you're boring. Men who choose peace over suffering often find themselves alone. Not because they're incapable of love, but because they've stopped letting pain be their proof. And in this system, that makes them less desirable. Because women aren't drawn to men who are happy. They're drawn to men they can shape through struggle. Not because they're heartless, but because they've been shaped by a world that taught them this is how connection works. Even when they say they want a nice guy, what they really want is a man who will suffer politely, who will endure their moods quietly, who will take the blame, adjust himself endlessly, and smile through the chaos. But when that man stops playing along, when he sets boundaries, when he stops bleeding on command, suddenly, he's toxic. Suddenly, he's the villain.